In this video, we're going to learn how to make this 3D printable box with a detachable lid. In this project, we're going to learn exactly how to create this box and as well as how to add magnets into this design so that way we can magnetically attach the lid to the frame of our box. So if you're ready to get started with this project and ready to start using magnets in your 3D prints, let's go ahead and open up Fusion 360 and get right to it. Okay, so before we jump right into Fusion, you do need additional accessories in order to make this project work. Now you can purchase some magnets on Amazon. I purchased this variety set on Amazon. These are fairly inexpensive, but depending on which ones you get, especially for the size of the magnets, that's going to determine on how big you should make the holes so that way you can actually fit the magnet into your 3D prints. For this project, I am going to be using PLA carbon fiber. The cost for this sort of filament is around 35 bucks, but you can use any filament you want for this project. So when you're ready to get started, let's go ahead and jump right into Fusion and get started. Okay, so to get started with this design, the first thing you need to do here is to create two components. Let's hover over to Create, New Component, and let's go ahead and name the first component to Frame. Press OK. Selecting the top level component on the left hand side, then creating another component, New Component. Let's go ahead and set this to Lid. Press OK. From here, make sure you toggle on the frame component as that's what we'll be working with right now. Let's go ahead and create a sketch, select the bottom plane, and then from here, let's create a center rectangle. Click on Create, Rectangle, Center Rectangle, then selecting the origin within your canvas, and then just dragging this out. I'm going to drag this out to around 50 by 50. Press Enter. Once that's done, finish sketch. From here, what we're going to do is extrude this profile. To do that, you can either press E on your keyboard or select the extrude feature on the top left-hand side. Selecting this feature here, I'm going to go ahead and extrude this up by around 25 millimeters. Press Enter. From here, I'm also going to go ahead and shell this in by pressing S on our keyboard, which brings up the Design Shortcuts menu, and type in Shell. Selecting the first option, then selecting the top face, let's go ahead and shell this in to around 2.4 millimeters. From here, let's go ahead and turn off our sketch by hovering over to the left-hand side, clicking on Sketches, then turning off Sketch 1 as we'll no longer need it. From here, what we're going to do is fillet all of these edges here on the outer edges of our design here. To do that, we can click on Modify, then select Fillet. What we're going to do here is select all of the edges of this box. So I'm going to select the outer edge and as well as the inner edge. And as you hover over each edge, you should see that it should highlight. And you're going to want to go ahead and select each feature here. From here, dragging your arrow in, I'm going to drag this into around 5 millimeters. Once that's done, press Enter. From here, what I'm going to do is create the lip for our box at the top. Now this is going to add some thickness to this, and the reason why we're adding this is that way we can thicken the wall, so we add the cutout for our magnet. To do that, we're going to press O on our keyboard, select the top face here, then drag out this edge all the way out. We're going to drag this out to around 2.4 millimeters, and then press OK. What we've essentially done is created an offset using the outer edge of our box here. By creating an offset, we can now use this newly created profile, then press E on our keyboard, and then just drag this down to, let's just say, around negative 2.4. After that's done, make sure the option here, the operation is set to join, and press OK. From here, now what we want to do is that there's currently an under part here that although we're going to 3D print this, we actually don't want to have this 90-degree angle here. And the reason for this is because if we did, that means we're going to have supports on this print, which is something we need to avoid. To fix that, we can press S on our keyboard, then type in chamfer. Selecting the chamfer icon here, then selecting the edge here, which will wrap around the entirety of our design, and then just dragging this out, which is going to match up to the length of our design. So if the length going from top to bottom is 2.4, this will also be 2.4. Press OK. Now with that done, we pretty much have the basic overall design for our box. We can go ahead and turn off Sketch 2, then create a sketch by hovering over to Create Sketch, then selecting this face here. And then what you want to do is go ahead and measure your magnets. Now the magnets I'm using are about 5 millimeters in diameter and about 2 millimeters thick. So they're not that big. They're actually fairly small, but depending on how thick or how big your measurements are for this design, you're going to want to go ahead and set those measurements here. So to do that, I'm going to select the center diameter circle. Then from my design, just dragging out this circle here. So since my design is around 5 millimeters thick, or the magnets are 5 millimeters, I'm gonna set this to 5.1, giving it a little bit of room for it to slide in. Once I'm happy with that, I'm gonna go ahead and zoom right in, then move my circle here to kind of fit in the center of where I want it to line up. What I'm also going to do is set up some dimensions so that way it sits here. Pressing D on our keyboard, which allows us to set up the sketch dimensions. We can select this edge here to our circle in the middle. And we can go ahead and set this to 5.75. Repeating the exact same thing on the right hand side with our circle, 5.75. And I might even make this a little bit smaller. So let's just say 5.5, and the same thing for the top. Once that's done, finish sketch. Now with our sketch profile created, we can go ahead and select this profile, press E, and since the thickness of our magnets is -2 millimeters or 2 millimeters thick, I'm gonna go ahead and drag this down by -2 millimeters. Make sure the operation is set to cut and press OK. Let's go ahead and turn off sketch 3 as we'll no longer use it. And as you can see, our cutout here allows us to cut into our design without it bleeding through the chamfer, which is why we thicken up the walls and as well as added this chamfer here. From here, we need to go ahead and pattern this all around our design. To do that, press S on our keyboard, type in circular pattern, then selecting the last feature in our timeline. From here, we're gonna go ahead and select the circular pattern dialog box that popped up, select the axis, which is gonna be the Z axis, which is this blue line right here. If this doesn't appear on screen, you can go ahead and toggle on the origin. And as you can see, it's gonna pop up here. By selecting this icon here, you can go ahead and increase the quantity to 4 since we have a 4-sided box. Press OK. And now we have the cutouts of our magnets on all 4 corners. From here, let's go ahead and turn on sketch 3. Then go ahead and toggle lid. Lid is what we're going to be using to create the cutouts for the lid as well. To do that, let's go ahead and reorient to the top. Then the next thing we want to do here is press E on our keyboard, then select the top profiles here. Now, by default, when you hover over it, you should see that it should automatically highlight within your canvas window. And the reason why this highlights is because you have an existing component with sketches created for that design, and it will automatically project or bleed over into your new component, which basically allows us to reference this one down below. So more importantly, later on, for example, if you wanted to increase the width or length of this box, the lid will also adjust accordingly. For now, let's go ahead and set the thickness to this box to around 3 millimeters. And press OK. I'm also going to go ahead and turn off the lid for now. Select the profile, turn it back on, press E on our keyboard, and make sure this cuts up around 2 millimeters. Press OK. Now if we turn off the frame, then look under our lid, you can see now we have the cutout for our magnet inside. We also need the cutout for the magnets on all 4 corners. So let's go ahead and press S on our keyboard, type in circular pattern, then selecting the last feature in our timeline once again, select the axis, which is going to be the Z axis right here in the middle, and go ahead and adjust the quantity to around 4. Press OK. Now you have the cutouts for the magnets on all 4 corners. Let's go ahead and turn on our frame, then go ahead to the top level component. And as you can see now, we have our box that's going to magnetically attach to our lid here. And that's how it's going to work. Additionally, if you want to add some sort of lip here, so that way you have something to hold on to or to attach to, more specifically when you want to actually remove the lid, we can go ahead and toggle back on our lid, then turn off our frame as we'll no longer need it. Then create sketch, select the top face. And then what I'm going to do here is to create a rectangle. On the left-hand side, selecting 2-point rectangle. And what I'm really looking for is the edge of my design. So right before my fillet starts to curve in, I'm gonna go ahead and select the edge right before it curves in, drag this out, and I'm gonna make sure it matches up to the right-hand side. I'm gonna set the thickness here to around, let's just say 4 millimeters. Now with our 2-point rectangle all the way to the right-hand side, selecting this profile, pressing E, and go ahead and drag this down to match the underside of our body here. To do that, we can also set the extent type to to object, then selecting the bottom face. And now whenever we make this lid thicker, this is also going to adjust with our design. Press OK. I'm also going to add a chamfer to this by pressing S, type in chamfer, then selecting the edge here and dragging this into around 2 millimeters. Press OK. From here, let's go ahead and turn on our frame. Then toggle the top level components, and then turn off any sketches within our canvas here. And now we've created this fully 3D printable box with a magnetic lid for our project. Now let's go ahead and export this to our slicer. To do that, you can go ahead and right click on the top level components, click on Save as Mesh, then a dialog box will appear on screen. What we want to do is to export this to our slicer of choice. I'm going to be using Bamboo Studio. Press OK. And now with our design opened up within Bamboo Studio, I'm going to go ahead and split this part into pieces by right-clicking, clicking on Split, then clicking on two objects. From here, I'm going to go ahead and move the box to the left, then the lid to the right, then rotating this around. And now we have our fully 3D printable product ready to be 3D printed on our 3D printer, complete with no supports. And this is a fairly simple, fast, and easy print to do on your 3D prints. Additionally, if you also want to change the sizing of this box, if you followed everything down to the T and made every single step according to what I've shown you here, you can also go back within your timeline, back to sketch 1, and then we can go ahead and adjust these values. For example, if I wanted to make this longer, finish sketch, you can see now our box is much longer, in addition to having the cutouts for the magnets also changed as well. And by any chance the cutouts didn't reflect accordingly, that's because we use the circular pattern feature, which will not reflect all around this design, which you'll have to manually re-add it. But assuming you made the design exactly the same size and length and width, now it should appear on all four sides. Pretty cool. With that said, I'm gonna go ahead and print this out and show you the final result. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. In this video, we covered exactly how to add magnets into our 3D prints, and as well as how to create a simple everyday box that anyone can use to store essentials, items, or other things inside. If you want to get access to more tutorials just like this, learn how to create your own functional and articulated designs, and as well as get access to our entire library of STL files, make sure to check out the 14-day design challenge with link in the description. In this challenge, we cover exactly how to design your own models with 3D printing. Whether you're someone that wants to create functional designs or even articulated designs, we cover everything you need to know to creating your own models, so that way you don't ever have to buy STLs ever again or have to license or even download them online. So if you're interested in joining the challenge, make sure to click the link down below. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.